I watched two security guys step off a boat and march straight onto my beach like they owned the sand, while a woman in a crisp white visor leaned over the bow and screamed, "Final notice, vacate the property." Now, 3 minutes later, she was the one getting read her rights, wrists pinned behind her back, staring at me like I'd just flipped the ocean upside down. And the craziest part is, she still kept saying, "You can't do this. I'm with the Homeowners Association. My name's Jack Hayes, and I didn't buy Pelican Key to fight anybody. I bought it because after 20 years in law enforcement, I wanted quiet. Real quiet, the kind you can hear in your own chest when the world finally stops yelling at you. Pelican Key is a small private island, a short ride off the coast, just far enough that people on the mainland can see it and just close enough that they think they get a vote. I put a modest house there, nothing fancy, just clean lines, a dock, and enough porch space to drink coffee and stare at the water like it owed me answers. Across the channel sits Seabreeze Cove, a tidy little neighborhood with matching mailboxes and lawns cut like they're measured with rulers. They've got a HOA, of course, and not the friendly kind that hands out welcome baskets. This one hands out violations like Halloween candy. The first time I met Linda Parker, she pulled up in a shiny pontoon boat like she was arriving at a press conference. Clipboard in hand, sunglasses so big they looked like body armor, and that tight smile that says, "I already decided you're wrong." She didn't start with hello. She started with, "I'm Linda Parker, president of the Seabreeze Cove Homeowners Association. We need to discuss your compliance." I actually looked behind me like maybe she had the wrong island. Then I said, calm as I could, "Ma'am, this is private property. I'm not part of Seabreeze Cove." Linda tapped her pen against the clipboard, click, 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 like she was counting down a bomb. "Oh, you're visible from our shoreline," she said. "So you fall under our aesthetic standards. You're impacting property values." I laughed once, mostly out of shock. Property values. I repeated like the words were foreign. She stepped closer to my porch rail and lowered her voice like we were sharing a secret. "The community has plans," she said, "for this area. A beach club, a lounge, something tasteful." Then she slid a paper onto my outdoor table right next to my coffee mug like she was serving me a bill. It was an official notice telling me I had 30 days to vacate due to community reclamation. I stared at it, waiting for the punchline. There wasn't one. I told her, "This isn't enforceable, and you're trespassing." Linda smiled wider like she loved when people said that, and replied, "We'll see." After she left, I did what any sane person would do. I tossed the paper in the trash, took a breath, and told myself, this is just some bored HOA lady playing pretend. A week later, the pretend turned into mail. Certified letters. Thick envelopes, fines for unapproved exterior structures, which was hilarious because the structure was my house, legally permitted, legally owned. Then another fine for unauthorized landscaping. On an island, with mostly wild vegetation. I hadn't planted anything except a couple of palms near the dock. Every letter had the same tone, sterile, smug, inevitable. Pay by this date, correct by that date. Failure to comply may result in legal action. Then Linda took it public. She posted in the Seabreeze Cove community group photos of my island, my dock, my boat, captioned like I was running a junkyard. "He's squatting," one comment said. "He's lowering our values," another added. And Linda, right in the middle of it, liked every comment that turned me into a villain. Not long after I started getting the parade. Boats circling my island on weekends, people pointing phones out, one guy with a megaphone shouting, "Go back where you came from," like I was invading Normandy instead of drinking coffee on my own porch. I'm not proud of how much it got under my skin. Not because I was scared of them, but because I could feel my peace getting peeled off layer by layer. The whole reason I bought that island was to stop feeling like I was on shift. And suddenly, I was sleeping light ears tuned for engines waking up at random noises like my body didn't trust the calm anymore. I called a lawyer on the mainland, a guy named Mark Denton, who sounded like he'd eaten 1,000 HOA letters for breakfast. He pulled up the property records, confirmed what I already knew: Pelican Key was mine, clean title, no HOA jurisdiction. Mark sent a formal cease and desist to Linda and the Homeowners Association. He used the kind of language that makes paper feel heavier: harassment, defamation, false claims of authority. Linda's response wasn't a letter. It was a boat. One afternoon I heard an engine cutting fast across the water, aggressive, like it had someplace to be. I stepped outside and saw a skiff heading straight for my dock, Linda standing at the front like the figurehead on a pirate ship, and behind her 2 men in cheap black polos with security stitched across the chest like they bought the uniforms on sale. They hopped off and walked up my sand without even looking around, like trespassing was just part of the job description. Linda pointed her clipboard at me like it was a weapon. "Final warning," she shouted. "Vacate now or you will be removed." I didn't yell back. I just felt that heavy, tired pressure in my chest, the kind that shows up when you realize someone isn't confused. They're committed. For a split second I pictured the easy exit. Sell the island, take the money, let some developer turn it into whatever Linda wanted, and disappear into a condo somewhere with thicker walls. And yeah, I had the ugly thought right after that, maybe I should have known this would happen. Maybe buying something people can see was a mistake. Not am I wrong, not some dramatic spiral. Just that practical, defeated calculation you do when you're exhausted and you want your life back. Then one of the security guys stepped onto the bottom stair of my porch. No permission, no hesitation, like my front steps belonged to him. And that thought snapped in half. Because at that point, this wasn't paperwork or neighborhood drama. This was a line getting crossed in the real world. I raised my voice, firm, clipped. "Stop right there. You are trespassing. Turn around and get back on the boat." Linda laughed, actually laughed, and waved her hand like I was a dog barking at the wind. "You don't get to decide," she said. "This is a community matter." The other guy puffed up his chest and took another step. "Sir, we're authorized," he said like he'd rehearsed it. I looked him dead in the face. "Authorized by who?" I asked the lady with the clipboard. Linda's smile tightened. "We're authorized by the Homeowners Association," she snapped. "Remove him." And that right there, those 2 words, was the moment she stopped being a nuisance and started being a problem. Because she wasn't just lying to me anymore. She was directing people to commit a crime in front of me. I took 1 step forward and said, calm and loud enough for everyone to hear, "You are being placed under citizen's arrest for criminal trespass." The guy blinked, like the sentence didn't match the script in his head. He scoffed. "You can't," I cut him off. "Keep walking and you'll add another charge." Linda's face went red. "Oh my God," she shouted, throwing her hands up like she was the victim. "He's threatening us. Someone record this." They didn't know who I was, and I didn't lead with it because I shouldn't have to. Private property is private property. But when the first guy tried to brush past me, shoulder forward, little intimidation move, I reached into my pocket, pulled out my wallet, and flipped it open. Badge. ID. Still valid. Still mine. "I'm Jack Hayes," I said, voice flat as concrete. "Former sheriff's office, and right now you're in the middle of committing a crime." The 2 security guys froze like somebody hit pause. Linda didn't. She doubled down. "That's irrelevant," she barked. "You're harassing HOA representatives. This island is under dispute." "No," I said, "it's under ownership. Mine." I told them to sit down on the sand and keep their hands where I could see them. One of them actually did. The other looked at Linda like, "Please don't make me die for this job." Linda kept talking fast, panicked, bossy. "You don't have the authority," she said. "HOA rules apply. We have jurisdiction. We can reclaim." I took my phone out and made 1 call. Not to scare them, not to flex, just to end it clean. When the patrol boat came across the channel, you could feel the energy change, like the air got heavier. 2 deputies stepped onto the sand, recognized me, and immediately clocked the situation. 2 hired goons on my property, and Linda still trying to run the show. One deputy asked Jack, "You want to explain?" I nodded toward the men. "Trespass," I said. Then I nodded toward Linda, and she ordered it. Linda's voice shot up an octave. "This is outrageous. I'm the president of the Homeowners Association. He's refusing compliance." The deputy didn't even blink. "Ma'am," he said, "this isn't Seabreeze Cove. This is private property." Linda stepped forward like she could bully law enforcement the same way she bullied neighbors. "You can't arrest me," she snapped. "I'm enforcing community standards." The deputy glanced at me, then back at her. "Community standards aren't law," he said, "and ordering a removal crew onto someone's property is trespass and conspiracy." That's when Linda finally went quiet. Not humble, just stunned, like the world had violated her expectations. They cuffed the 2 security guys first. Then Linda started shaking her head, repeating, "No, no, no," like denial was a legal strategy. When the cuffs clicked around her wrists, she turned and stared at me with pure hate, like I'd ruined her life instead of her doing it herself. And as they walked her back toward the boat, she hissed, "This isn't over." I didn't smile. I didn't gloat. I just watched the water swallow the sound of her voice as they left. Because the truth is, people like Linda count on you giving up quietly. And the lesson is simple. Never let an HOA convince you their rules are stronger than the law.